In 1974, a Boy Scout handbook told kids to start a campfire with a potato chip. Today, outdoor companies sell you a $9 box of waxy fire cubes and call it innovation. But here's the twist. That greasy chip lights faster, burns longer, and costs about a nickel. Number 12 on this list is something the cooler companies quietly hope you never figure out, but it does the job of a $300 upgrade. And number 3, campers swear it does something a $300 gadget can't touch. These fixes were so cheap that entire brands were built on making you forget them, because if you knew what your grandfather knew about the woods, you'd stop buying half the aisle at REI. Before we start, hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to learn might save you a fortune. Let's count down the 25 smartest campsite fixes. Number 25, the potato chip fire starter. Before you drop $9 on a box of fire cubes, look in your snack bag. A greasy potato chip, a Frito, a Dorito, any chip fried in oil, lights off a single match and burns for a solid 2 to 3 minutes. That's long enough to catch your kindling every single time. The oil that makes chips bad for your arteries makes them perfect tinder. Stack a small handful under your twigs, touch a flame to the edge, and watch them go up like little torches. A whole bag costs about $4 and doubles as dinner. Compare that to the $10 tin of fire starters sold at every outfitter, the ones that are basically sawdust and paraffin. Your chips light faster, weigh nothing, and nobody at the campsite has to know your fire got its start from junk food. Number 24, dryer lint and egg cartons. Every load of laundry you run produces the best free tinder on earth, and most people throw it in the trash. Pull the lint from your dryer screen, stuff it into the cups of a cardboard egg carton, then pour a little melted candle wax over the top. Let it harden. Now snap off 1 cup whenever you need a fire. That waxed lint burns hot for around 8 minutes, long enough to dry out damp wood on a miserable morning. A dozen of them cost you nothing but the wax stub you already had. Coleman will happily sell you a bag of fire-starting cubes for $8, and they do the exact same job your garbage does for free. Campers were making these long before the outdoor industry figured out how to shrink wrap them and mark them up 400%. Number 23, frozen water jugs instead of ice packs. Those blue reusable ice packs run $5 to $12 each. They leak, and when they thaw, you're left with a puddle at the bottom of the cooler. Here's the fix your grandfather used. Freeze a few plastic jugs of water solid before you leave home, then pack them standing upright in the cooler. They keep everything colder than loose ice. They don't soak your sandwiches, and a big jug stays frozen for 2 or 3 days. The best part comes at the end. As they melt, you've got gallons of clean, ice-cold drinking water right when your supply is running low. 1 block of frozen water does the job of a cooler full of gadgets and a case of bottled water combined. It costs the price of the water and the space in your freezer, and nothing on the accessory wall beats it. Number 22, the Headlamp Jug Lantern. Camp stores sell inflatable solar lanterns and rechargeable globes for $30, $40, even $50. You already own the only thing you need. Strap a cheap headlamp around a translucent gallon jug of water, lamp facing inward. The water scatters the beam in every direction and turns one small light into a soft, glowing lantern bright enough to light a whole picnic table. Milk jugs, water jugs, even a clear dry bag all work. The science is just diffusion. The water breaks up that harsh single point of light into something gentle, and even that fills the whole tent. A headlamp costs $10, and you were bringing one anyway. Thru-hikers have been doing this for decades, while the rest of us buy purpose-built lanterns that do nothing a jug of water can't. Fill it, strap it, and light up your whole site for free. Number 21, duct tape wrapped around a bottle. Those pre-packaged camp repair kits cost $15 to $20 and sit unused until the one time you need something they don't have. Skip it. Wrap a few feet of duct tape around your water bottle or lighter before every trip. Now you've got a repair kit that weighs nothing and takes 0 space. Ripped tent, patched. Blown out boot sole, strapped back together. Cracked tarp, torn pack, snapped pole, Duct tape holds it long enough to get you home. Some people wrap it around a pencil or an old gift card to save even more room. The stuff was invented by the military in World War II to keep ammo cases dry, and it has fixed more gear in the field than every fancy repair kit ever sold. A roll costs $4 and lasts years. Wrap your bottle and forget about it. Number 20. The Emergency Blanket Heat Reflector. That crinkly silver space blanket in the checkout bin costs $1, and most people never even unfold it. Here's what it really does. String it up behind you when you're sitting at the fire, shiny side facing in, and it bounces the fire's heat right back onto your body. Suddenly you're warm on both sides instead of roasting your front while your back freezes in the dark. NASA developed the material to reflect radiant heat, and it works exactly the same on a campfire's warmth. Rig it behind your chair or across the back of your tent opening, and you'll feel the difference in minutes. Outdoor brands sell padded reflective heat panels for $40 that do the identical job. A $1 Mylar sheet folds to the size of a deck of cards and pulls double duty as emergency gear. Nobody tells you that at the register. Number 19. The Pool Noodle Fix. A $2 foam pool noodle from the dollar store solves 3 camp problems the gear catalog charges you for. Slice a length of it, slit it down the side, and slide it over your tent's guy line so nobody trips and faceplants in the dark. That's exactly what those $5 reflective line covers do. Slide a piece over a sharp trailer hitch or a low tent pole so you stop cracking your shins. Cut a chunk to pad a hard cooler handle or brace fragile gear in your trunk. The closed cell foam is the same stuff pricey camp seat pads are made from, just in a cheaper shape. One noodle covers your whole campsite and costs less than a candy bar. It's the kind of thing that makes you wonder what half the accessories at the outfitter are even there for. Number 18. First pattern break. And here's where the old-timers start laughing at us. Dish soap and scrubbers marketed for camping can run you $15 for the set, and you're hauling a bottle of chemicals into the backcountry for no reason. The fix is right under your feet. A handful of sand, gravel, or coarse dirt scours a greasy pot cleaner than any sponge. Add a splash of water, swirl the grit around with your fingers or a wad of grass, and the abrasion lifts baked-on food right off the metal. Rinse, and you're done. The Boy Scouts taught this for a century because it works and it leaves nothing behind to pollute a stream. Guides in Alaska still clean cast iron this way. We got convinced we needed special biodegradable camp soap and micro scrubbers, but the ground under your boots has been doing it for free since the beginning of time. Number 17. The Contractor Trash Bag. A single heavy-duty black trash bag replaces a dozen things the store wants to sell you separately. Cut a hole for your head, and it's a rain poncho. There go the $20 disposable ponchos at the trailhead. Line the inside of your backpack with one, and your gear stays bone dry through a downpour, which is exactly what a $30 pack liner does. Stuff it with leaves, and it's an emergency sleeping pad or a pillow. Lay it flat, and it's a ground sheet under your tent. Spread it out, and it collects rainwater. Contractor-grade bags are thick enough to take real abuse, and a whole box costs about the price of one brand-name rain cover. Long-distance hikers swear by them because they're waterproof, weightless, and endlessly useful. One bag, 10 jobs, a few cents each. Number 16. Newspaper in wet boots. Nothing ruins a morning like shoving your feet into cold, soggy boots. The camp store's answer is a $25 boot dryer that needs electricity you don't have in the woods. The real fix costs nothing. Crumple up dry newspaper and pack it tight into your wet boots overnight. The paper wicks the moisture straight out of the leather and lining, and by morning your boots are dry and warm. Swap in fresh sheets halfway through if they were really soaked. Newspaper also kills the funk. It absorbs odor along with the damp. Backpackers have carried a few flat sheets for this exact reason for generations, since paper doubles as fire tinder and pot packing too. A battery boot dryer is dead weight in the backcountry. A section of yesterday's paper weighs nothing and does the same job while you sleep. Number 15. Mint tins and pill bottles. Waterproof match cases and camp spice kits are a classic overpriced gadget trap. $8 for a tiny tube, $25 for a spice set. Your recycling bin has better. An empty Altoids tin becomes a match safe, a mini first aid kit, or a tiny survival kit that slides into any pocket. Old prescription pill bottles are even sneakier. The child-proof caps seal tight against moisture, so they keep matches, salt, pepper, and spices bone dry. Contact lens cases hold 2 days of olive oil and hot sauce with 0 leaks. Line up a few and you've got a full spice rack that weighs a couple of ounces. The outdoor industry took the exact same idea, stamped a logo on it, and quadrupled the price. Your empties do it for free and keep plastic out of the landfill while they're at it. Number 14, the Windshield Sunshade Cozy. That accordion fold reflective windshield shade in your car, the $5 one, is made of the same insulating material as $40 camp gear. Cut and tape it into a sleeve around your cooking pot, and it becomes a cozy that keeps your meal hot for an hour after you kill the flame, which saves fuel because you can finish cooking rice and oatmeal off the stove. Wrap it around a water bottle and it stops your drink from freezing overnight. Fold a piece under your sleeping bag and it blocks the cold radiating up from the ground. Sit on a square of it and your backside stays warm and dry. The material, sold as Reflectix in hardware stores, is what a lot of name-brand pot cozies and sit pads are secretly made from. Buy the roll, skip the markup. Number 13, Petroleum Jelly Cotton Balls. Here's the fire starter that outperforms almost anything on the shelf. Take a cotton ball, work a fingertip of petroleum jelly into it until it's saturated, and store a handful in a zip bag. When you need fire, pull the cotton apart to expose the dry fibers in the center. Throw a spark or a match at it, and it erupts into a flame that burns for 4 to 5 minutes, hot enough to light wet kindling in the rain. The jelly is basically slow-burning fuel, and the cotton is the wick. A whole bag of these costs about $1 in materials and fits in a mint tin. Survival instructors and the military teach this exact trick. Meanwhile, the store sells you waterproof matches and fire paste for $12 that do less. It's the cheapest insurance in your pack. Number 12, second pattern break. And this is the one the cooler companies really don't want you thinking about. A famous brand will sell you a cooler for $300 and swear the magic is in the box. But the magic is in how you pack it. Start with block ice, not cubes. A block melts far slower because it has less surface area, and you can make one by freezing water in a loaf pan or a milk jug. Then add a couple of handfuls of rock salt. Salt lowers the melting point so the ice stays colder and lasts noticeably longer, the same chemistry that keeps roads icy in winter. Line the lid with that reflective sunshade material and pre-chill everything before it goes in. Do all that in a $40 cooler, and it holds ice nearly as long as the $300 one. You're paying for a logo, not for cold. Number 11, clothespins and chip clips. The gear wall is full of little branded clips, tablecloth clamps, tarp clips, gear organizers, a few dollars a piece, and they add up fast. A bag of wooden clothespins costs $2 and does all of it. Clip a tablecloth down so the wind stops flipping it into your food. Hang wet socks and towels on your Paracord line. Seal open food bags so critters don't smell dinner. Pinch a tarp to a ridge line when you're short a grommet. Binder clips from your desk drawer, grip even harder, and clamp a tarp to a tent pole in a second. Chip clips hold your bag of, well, chips, the ones you're saving to start tomorrow's fire. It's the most boring hack on this list, and it quietly replaces a whole rack of overpriced camp clips. Number 10, the $3 bandana that does 10 jobs. Outfitters sell a specialized version of every single thing a plain cotton bandana already does. Soak it and tie it around your neck to beat the heat. Pour cloudy water through it to strain out leaves and grit before you filter or boil. Fold it into a pot holder so you don't scorch your hand lifting a lid. Use it as a sunshade under your hat, a dust mask, a sling, a bandage, a napkin, a dish towel, or a bag for foraged berries. Dip it in cold creek water, and it's an instant cooling cloth. One square of cotton, about $3, weighs almost nothing and folds into a pocket. The industry took each of these uses, made a separate product for it, and charged you 10 times over. Buy 2 bandanas and cover half your kit. Number 9. Soap on the bottom of your pots. Anyone who's cooked over an open fire knows the black soot bakes onto the bottom of the pot and turns your hands and your pack filthy. There's a gadget for everything, but the fix here is a bar of cheap soap. Before you set a pot over the flames, rub a wet bar of soap all over the outside bottom, coating it in a thin film. When you're done cooking, the soot wipes right off with that soap layer instead of scrubbing for 20 minutes. The soap creates a barrier the black carbon can't grip. Grandmothers did this over wood stoves a century ago. It costs pennies, it saves your gear and your hands, and it means you can nest a sooty pot back in your pack without ruining everything it touches. No special coating or scrubber required. Number 8. Third pattern break, and this one takes on the whole tent industry. A decent backpacking tent runs $200 to $600. For a fraction of that, a simple tarp and some paracord give you a shelter that's lighter, dries faster, and never traps you in a puddle of condensation. String a ridgeline between 2 trees, drape the tarp over it in an A-frame, stake the corners out, and you've got a roof over your head in 5 minutes. Pitch one side low against the wind or high and open on a clear night to watch the stars. An 8x10 tarp costs $15 to $30 and weighs a pound. Ultralight hikers who could afford any tent on the market choose tarps on purpose, because the expensive tent isn't buying you shelter, it's buying you zippers and poles you don't strictly need. Number 7. Foam floor tiles as a sleeping pad. A name brand inflatable sleeping pad costs $100 to $200, and one sharp stick puts a hole in your whole night's sleep. Those interlocking foam floor tiles from the hardware store, the ones people put down in garages and playrooms, cost about $1 per square foot. Lay a few down inside your tent and you've got a cushioned, insulated barrier between you and the cold, hard ground that can never puncture, never deflate, and never fails. They snap together to fit any tent floor and pop apart to pack flat. The closed-cell foam blocks ground cold exactly like the pricey pads. Is it as plush as a $200 air mattress? No. Will it still be working in 10 years when the air pad has long since sprung a leak? Absolutely. Comfort for the price of lunch. Number 6. The Black Jug Solar Shower. Camp solar showers cost $30 to $50 and are basically a black bag with a hose. Make your own for nothing. Fill a black jug or a dark trash bag with water and leave it in direct sun for a couple of hours. The dark surface soaks up sunlight and heats the water to genuinely warm, sometimes surprisingly hot, with no fuel and no batteries. Hang it from a branch, crack the cap or poke a small hole, and you've got a gravity shower to rinse off after a sweaty hike. Paint an old milk jug black or slide a clear one inside a black bag, and it works even better. It's just physics. Dark colors absorb solar heat. The gear store version is the same idea with a nozzle and a logo. Yours costs the sunshine, which is still free. Number 5. Fourth pattern break, the wool sock trick. Camp stores sell padded pot grippers, insulated mug sleeves, and neoprene koozies, $3 or $4 each. A clean wool sock replaces all of them. Pull one over your hand, and it's an instant pot holder that lets you grab a hot handle straight off the fire without flinching. Slide one over a cold water bottle or a can, and it works as a koozie, keeping cold drinks cold and your hand from going numb. Stuff a sock with dry clothes, and it's a pillow. On a freezing night, fill a bottle with hot water and tuck it in a sock so it doesn't scorch you in your sleeping bag. Wool keeps insulating even when it's damp, which is why it beats the synthetic sleeves. You packed socks anyway. Now they're doing 4 jobs the outfitter charged you for separately. Number 4. The Reflector firewall. People spend $150 or more on a propane radiant heater to stay warm at camp, hauling a tank into the woods to do it. The old woodsman's answer costs nothing. Build a low wall of stacked rocks or green logs on the far side of your campfire, opposite where you're sitting. That wall catches the heat that would otherwise escape into the dark and throws it back toward you, nearly doubling the warmth you actually feel. Position it right, and it also blocks the wind and shields the flames from gusts. Trappers and mountain men used reflector walls to sleep warm in the open through brutal nights. It's the same principle as the reflective blanket, just built from what's already lying around your site. Free heat, aimed exactly where you want it, powered by a fire you already have going. Number 3. The hot water bottle that beats a $300 gadget. Companies now sell battery-heated sleeping bags and electric hand warmers for $200 to $300, and they die the moment the charge runs out. Here's what actually keeps you warm all night. Before bed, boil water and fill a sturdy, hard-sided bottle. A Nalgene is perfect. Screw the lid down tight and drop it into the foot of your sleeping bag. That bottle radiates gentle heat for 6 to 8 hours, warming the whole bag from the inside with zero electronics to fail. Tuck it against your core or between your thighs, and you'll stay toasty in the coldest weather. Wrap it in a sock so it doesn't burn you. In the morning, the water's still liquid and ready to drink or cook with. No battery, no charging, no gadget on earth does this simpler or more reliably. Number 2, Paracord, the one item that replaces a bag of gear. Real parachute cord costs about $10 for 100 feet, and it quietly does the work of a dozen specialized products. String it as a ridgeline for your tarp. Rig a bear hang to keep your food off the ground and away from animals. Run a clothesline, lash a splint, replace a broken bootlace, cinch down a load, or build an entire shelter frame. Inside that outer sheath are 7 thin inner strands you can pull out for fishing line, sewing thread, or fine repairs. It holds hundreds of pounds and barely weighs anything. The military designed it for parachutes precisely because it's absurdly strong and versatile. Wrap 50 feet around a water bottle and you're carrying a whole toolbox as a single item. Nothing on the gear wall gives you that much capability per dollar. Number 1. And the number 1 poor man's fix, the tin can stove. A backpacking stove runs $50 to $150, plus fuel canisters you have to keep buying forever. For almost nothing, an empty tin can becomes a stove that actually cooks. Take a clean steel can, punch a few air holes near the bottom and a few near the top with a can opener, cut a larger opening on the side to feed it, and you've got a wood-burning stove that runs on twigs and pine cones you gather for free. No fuel to buy or carry, ever. Set your pot right on top. Want it even simpler? Coil a strip of cardboard into a tuna can and pour melted wax over it to make a burner that puts out a steady flame for over an hour. Scouts have cooked on these for 100 years. Always use it on bare dirt or gravel, keep it clear of dry brush, and never leave it unattended. It's proof that the most reliable camp stove ever made costs about $1 and comes straight out of your recycling bin. Here's my challenge. Pick one of these before your next trip. Just one. Freeze a jug for the cooler, wrap your bottle in duct tape, or drop a hot Nalgene in your sleeping bag. Then come back and tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. Tell me if that gadget you paid a fortune for really does anything $1's worth of gear can't. Because once you see how much of that store wall is just clever marketing, you can't unsee it. Your grandfather knew. Now you know too.